Show. Today we're going to talk about the U.S., including topics about government, society, events, and problems in the U.S. To talk about the government, please welcome our first guest, Donald Trump, which will tell us how the U.S. has changed in government since the 19th century. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump.
Hello, my name is Donald J. Trump. I'm the President of America.
Mr. Trump, could you please tell us how the government has changed since the 19th century?
Oh yeah, the 19th century. I remember when there were no Mexicans in this country.
Please answer the question and get over Mexicans already.
Where was I? The 19th century. I think it was a dictatorship.
Wrong, it was a federal republic. P.S. I'm not surprised you didn't know the answer.
What's that supposed to mean? You can't talk to me like that. I'm the President of America.
Okay, so clearly our guest doesn't know much about the U.S., so we'll have to welcome in another guest.
No, wait. I know something about... Go back to Guatemala or something. Peasants. Stop bluffing. You are the host of a talk show. Please be professional or I will deport you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so you were telling us about Republicans. What about them?
Oh yes, I am a Republican, so I can tell about Abraham Lincoln, who was the President of the Union during the Civil War. That was also the Confederation, which I was rooting for actually.
I knew it! Anyways, now it's time to play a game. It's very easy, even for you.
What?
Okay, so I'll say a random year and you have to tell me who was the US president at that time, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so the first year is 1801. You have 10 seconds to answer. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6...
Thomas Jefferson!
No, it was George Washington. Pretty close.
I know, right?
No, not really. But anyway, it's time to welcome another guest because clearly you suck at this game. So thank you, Mr. Trump. It was a pleasure, I think. And remember, for everyone at home, it's only for 4 years. You can put up with him while Michelle Obama runs for president.
Make America great again!
Cut!
¿Quieres? ¿Cómo te llamas?
Para ti, Bubulu buena.
¿Y para mis amigos?
Pues mis amigas.
Bubulubu de Ricolino, Bubulu buenos momentos.
Los Bubulú. Lo vamos a pagar, ¿eh?
Now it's time for another interview with an old friend and colleague that's an expert in American economy. Please welcome Alec. So, hey Alec, tell us about how the economy was in the 19th century.
Well, the economy in the 19th century was something really, let's say, volatile. It started and it came really quick and it drastically became really big an economy, mostly because of the industrial sector development and also a lot because the private businesses of people, like rich people, they started growing really fast. Besides that, it was also due to the fact that people could now produce things quicker due to the industrial revolution that got to the American government until 1820.
Oh wow, so how big was the development in the country?
Well, it was something really big. Like, we're talking here about a 314% increase in the government that was almost pretty new. So we're talking about $2,070 in the GDP, which means gross domestic product. And then in just a century, it became $6,534. Like, do you know what we're talking about here? It was the 300% increase. It was pretty big. Like, we're talking here about astronomical amounts.
Okay, I'll pretend to know what that means or not. So tell us, what else was relevant in the U.S. economy?
Well, little story time, kids. There was this guy named Thomas Jefferson, and he was the one who wrote the thing that they wrote on the 4th of July of 1776. You know what that is called. Either way, he wanted the economy to flow by itself, and he didn't want any federal government, like, just doing a bank. But there was this other guy called Alexander Hamilton, and he didn't want a Federal Reserve. And everyone was like, we need something, like we need a bank, like got by the government, And he was all like, the government has to, they have to control what you're selling and they have to control what you're buying. But then the people were like, nah, we don't want that from the government. We don't want them to control us. But then there was this guy that, that Thomas Jefferson that I was explaining to you about. And he was like, no, yeah, we have to be free to do what we want. You feel me?
Oh, so then what happened? Did we have a national bank?
Yeah, we did. But it wasn't until the 20th century, 1917, that we got our national government called Federal Reserve. And let me tell you something, it was federal.
Wow, you do know a lot about this topic. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure meeting you.
The pleasure is mine.
So now it's time for a segment I like to call
How to Make America Great Again, even though it wasn't really great in the first place.
For this, we will bring in our 2 interviewees. Sarah Gomez, that is an expert in culture and society, and Sasha Teichman, a historian. So first we're going to talk to the expert in culture and society, Carolina Gomez. So, Caro, we know the most controversial thing of the U.S. was the race. How would you say people were classified?
Well, your skin tone will basically tell you everything about you. Your economic position, your social power, or even how evolved you were.
Oh, interesting. But do you think the race was classified by the religion?
Well, Christianity was the main religion, and the Bible was used to teach English to children and take the native language away.
Hold on, does that mean they want to take that part of the culture away, or what do you mean?
Yeah, they wanted to take the culture and the religion away, and even teachers in boarding schools would cut their hair off the children that were native.
Wow, that's very surprising. So thank you very much for sharing this information with us. Next, we will talk to historian Sasha Teichman after this brief commercial cut. Steve?
Secadora, tenazas, daña mucho el cabello, ¿verdad? Yo necesito más que un acondicionador, mucho más. Nuevo acondicionador diario 3-Minute Miracle de Pantene. Penetra en tu cabello para reparar hasta 3 meses de daño en solo 3 minutos. Tu cabello más suave y brillante, de adentro hacia afuera. Cámbiate a Pantene y notarás la diferencia. Pantene es mucho más que un acondicionador.
So, Sasha, can you please tell us about important events in U.S. history?
Okay, I'm going to start with the Civil War, which, as everybody knows, was a very important war in the U.S. history. It lasted 4 years. It was from 1861 to 1865, and it was basically two sides. One was the South and one was the North. The South was the Confederation and the North was the Union. The president of the Union was Abraham Lincoln, and the president of the Confederation was Jefferson Davis. The main cause of this war was slavery, because the South, they approved of slavery, but the North didn't.
Wow, thank God slavery was abolished. So next, do you know anything about Mexico and the U.S.?
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Actually, the South, they wanted to have a new country with the legality of slavery, but that was the ending of the war was when that failed. By the way, that didn't happen because the abolition of slavery happened, and also the unification of the U.S.
So what happened next?
Before the Civil War, from 1846 to 1848, there was a war against Mexico, like U.S. against Mexico. And that all started because Texas separated from Mexico and joined the U.S., so Mexico was angry that they did that. So the U.S. sent troops to Mexico, and that's when they officially declared the war on May 13th of 1946.
So tell me, what happened next?
The U.S. troops were led by Zachary Taylor, and the Mexican troops were led by Mariano Arista. So Zachary Taylor, what he did, he sent his troops to the frontier, so both armies faced, and in the end Mexico was defeated. And one of the most important battles was the Battle of Chapultepec, in which, like I said, Mexico was defeated, and it all ended in which Mexico, they signed a treaty called the Guadalupe Hidalgo Treaty, in which some of their lands went to the U.S. because they had lost the war, and between them was Alta California.
So they declared war to each other?
No, the U.S. declared war against Mexico.
Okay, and how did it all end?
So like I said, they signed the treaty, and most of Mexico's territories went to the U.S. because they had lost. It was like a consequence, so they had to give away their territory.
Okay, thank you so much for being with us today. It was a pleasure meeting you. We'll be back with another interview after this commercial cut. Okay, so for this final interview, I have Mariana with me. So, could you tell me what was one of the biggest problems in the U.S.?
Yeah, of course. Like one of the biggest problems in the US was that they give priority to the white people and not to the black people.
Yes, that's right, but what was that called?
It was called slavery. And like black people worked for hours and they didn't like have a reward or a payment.
Yes, that's right, but now we know that the abolition of slavery was one of the most important events because it gave black people a sense of equality. And that's all we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next time.
Well, since Trump didn't give us a lot of information, I will do a summary for you. After the American independence, George Washington became president, and it started a constant federal republic in the US. An important figure in this century was Abraham Lincoln. He was a Republican that led the Union in the Civil War. The first president of this century was John Adams, and the last one was William McKinley. The Americans have a very ambitious culture. They are always looking for more power, territory, and it has developed over time.
Well, continuing what Mariana was saying, this country is also known quite a lot for its cultural and religious diversity. The religion was mostly Christian during the century, save for some exceptions and stuff, and the official language was English, although there were still some native tribes, especially in the West, and they spoke other dialects, all because of the indigenous people in there. It is divided into 5 regions, of which 2 were the most influential in this century, and they were the north and the southern east parts. This was because the Midwestern, the West, and the Southwest weren't incorporated until later into the century, and that's why they weren't as influential. This was a key century for the US, and it was when it acquired most of its territory and its worldwide influence, and that's mostly what made America the country that it is again, and because it's really powerful and very wealthy.